Hello and happy Septandy! Last time I took a trip down my Tandy memory lane and explored some of my earliest and fairly embarrassing attempts at making programs. Today we're going to do something similar, but the theme is arcade games. We're going to start off with the very first game I ever finished, adequately named Enemy.
Use your right joystick to move across the bottom of the screen. Avoid being hit by the falling bomb. Try to hit the bomb as you get to. If they hit you, you can steer. But be careful because sometimes you hit a bad bullet and it goes right through the bomb. This is how I decided to fix a bug, is by making it into a feature. Sometimes the bullet just goes right through the bomb. So I just made that be part of the game. Do a one-player game. Start with a one shooter. Well, I don't like being timed. All right, so here I am on the bottom. And gotta line myself up with the bullet. Oh, this is harder than I remember. Oh, geez. All right, I got -1 points. That's great. Oh, am I ever going to get this? Oh, I got one. Now I'm up to 0. Went right through it. Did you see that? Ha ha ha. That was a bug. We're going to talk about that in a bit. All right, let's try it with the 2-shooter. Oh, look at me. I got 2 bullets now. I'm undefeatable. Oh, went right between them. No. This is very hard for me. Ah, jeez. Went right through it. Come on, man. That was robbery. I earned it. Oh, geez. Went through it again. Gotcha. Okay, so why does the bullet sometimes go through and sometimes not? Well, every time through the loop, the bullet goes up 1 and the bomb comes down 1. And that means all the empty space between them decreases by 2 lines. So if when you fire and there happens to be an even number of rows between the bullet and the bomb, then as they each go forward and meet each other, those number of empty rows decreases by 2 each time, and then eventually it will hit 0. So if you're all lined up, there will be no spaces between them, and the hit detection will notice that yes, the bullet and the bomb occupy the same space. But if you start off and there's an odd number of rows, of empty rows between them, then as they get closer and closer, that will end up being down to 1 empty row. And then after that, they will pass by each other. Bomb comes down, bullet goes up, and now they're like past each other. So there's never a point where the hit detection can notice that they're occupying the same row. So, yeah, they just kind of pass through each other. I don't know if I realized that back then, and I just figured it was too hard to fix, or if I was really just stupefied and had no idea what was going on. But whatever, you write it into the documentation, and then it becomes a feature.
Back in the day, my favorite arcade game was Space Invaders. Maybe because it was one of the only arcade games, I'm not sure, but I just loved it. And I specifically really liked the sound effects of Space Invaders. In fact, if you listen to it again, I mean, that's some satisfying stuff when you shoot them, right? Well, I decided how cool would it be if I made my own Space Invaders. So this is what that ended up being.
All right, check out how they come closer and closer down. See how they scroll? They just keep scrolling down the screen rather than like back and forth. I thought that was kind of okay. Shoot. Boy, does it slow down. And oh wow, it detected a hit. Very nice. Slow. Detected a hit. Let's see, can it detect that there was no hit? I can move while I can't shoot again, but I move and they move while the bullet's up in the air. That's pretty good. Notice how, by the way, I hit an invader and it just sticks around. I get the point. That's pretty nice. But it just sticks around. All right. Let's wait it out. Come get me, invaders. Ugh, I can't resist. I'm right under one. All right, okay. Oh, no. Oh, no. Looks like line 1010 was going to take care of everything for me. Yes, if they come down, let's do that subroutine at 3000. Here's nothing down there. Okay. The main loop is right here from 90 to 170. I read the joystick. I use that to print my spaceship. I have a subroutine to draw all the invaders. And that subroutine just has a whole bunch of printing. And here's where I check to see if the button is pressed. And if so, I have another subroutine that I go to. But oddly enough, that subroutine is just a copy of this loop, but with bullet stuff added in. So at 2000, I'm still checking the joystick, I'm still printing the spaceship and everything. The difference is I have these other variables that keep track of the bullet. And then down here I do my hit detection. So X represents which invader on the given line I'm looking at. Y gives me the offset into that invader. And this AABBCCDD business are the different lines of invaders. So this is asking, is the bullet at the top line of the first invader or the top line of the first invader plus 1, because there's 4 characters per invader. If any of those are true, then that's a hit. And we go ahead and play this nifty sound. And it's just kind of interesting looking back, seeing, rather than using a subroutine for this, I just retyped it all out again. And I think, man, I didn't even have copy paste or anything back then. I just didn't care. I would just type and type and type and it was fine with me. But this brings me to really possibly the first aha moment I've ever had with coding. I had this question in my mind, whether you're in this main loop or you're in this main loop, you're always calling that subroutine to print all the invaders. Somehow the subroutine needs to know if one of the invaders got hit so it doesn't print it anymore. And all I could think initially in my head was, do I have to have an entire different print routine that's somehow like inside this? So like if I know that that's been hit, then I have to somehow print them all in here, but not print the one that was hit. And then I was wondering, but then if I have multiple, how do I remember all the ones that have been hit? How do I have routines that are different for all the different possible combinations of the invaders that have been hit and have not been hit? And it was only when I walked away from the computer and I was doing something else that it occurred to me that I could use a variable for that. I could use a variable to remember state. And so after I play this sound, that's when this is maybe just the hardest few characters of code that I had to write for this whole game to come up with, is I could keep track of whether something on the top row or the next row or the third row or the fourth row got hit. And in this case, I'm using an array that's indexed by which invader on that row it is. And I made a flag. This is probably the first time I ever thought to make a flag. Now that said, I didn't actually use the flag yet. I didn't actually go back into the printing routine and then check, well, if this is 1, then don't print it.
Maybe I just got bored and I thought, oh, this is so slow and I'm never going to fit it. What's the point? It was almost like having that aha was good enough to know, oh, it can be done. I know I can do it. What's the point in doing it? Anyway, the rest of the code just increments the score, prints the score, and then return. And the reason we're returning is we're no longer in the bullet subroutine. Now we're back to the main loop that has no bullets. So finally, that brings me to why this is so slow. The only real difference between the bullet main loop and the non-bullet main loop is, we're drawing a bullet and we're keeping track of the bullet, but we do have this loop inside, this 4-iteration loop that's doing the hit detection. Could this possibly be responsible for such a slowdown? Well, the quickest way to tell is to simply skip over all of this stuff. So rather than doing this for loop and then going to 2130, I could just go to 2130 directly from here. And let's see if that's any faster. All right, so let's make 2155 go to 2130. Let's see how the performance changes. Shoot. Same. Take out the hit detection, and it's nice and fast. Which is actually kind of surprising to me that 4-iteration loop, where each line of that did 4 hits, and there were 4 lines. So basically 64 conditions, and that was responsible for that incredible slowdown. And those conditions are pretty small. There's probably all sorts of nifty basic hacks I could have done to make that faster, I'm sure. If you were a kid in the 80s, who could forget Oregon Trail? That educational game that taught kids all about death and disease and murder as people went west to stake out new fortunes and new lives on the frontier. This was mainly on the Apple II, if you were in school, and that's where I was exposed to it. And I thought, I could write something like this. Let's take a look. Okay, we dive right in. I think it's asking me how much money I want to spend on these things. It's not telling me how much money I have, but I think it's reasonable to spend $5 on everything. So let's do that. That's 25. Oh, now I see how much money I have left. That's great. Press spacebar. All right, what shall we do? How's about we go shopping again? Let's stop at the next fort. Nope. So that would have been 2000, line 2000. And I guess we don't have anything around 2000. No, we don't. Okay, that's fine. Let's do $5. $5 is good. All right, let's go hunting. Here we go. Amazing graphics. All right, so this is me, and this is the buffalo, and this, of course, is nature. Okay, so what you got to do is just carefully time your bullet to go when the buffalo is going to be there. Oh, the bullet sticks around. That's okay. Ooh, got the buffalo. Okay. Let's see if we can get another buffalo. Get another buffalo. Nope. Nope. Oh, buffalo eats the bullet as it goes across. It's very nice. Buffalo. Nope. I'm very bad at this game. I can't really move meat. Oh, okay. All done. Fine. Oh, now I get to eat. And so it's telling me I have 15 food. I think that's because I shot a buffalo. I'm going to eat well today. We're going to eat well. And now I have -10 food. Okay, I guess I can eat more. Oh, graphics. Animation. We're moving on to the next place.
And I guess it all just repeats. I can't stop at the next fort. I can hunt, or I can continue. We'll just eat well again. Excellent. And oh, it's keeping track of miles for me. And then the fantastic graphics animation there. Bit of tearing. I'm guessing I used get put for this. I don't know. I don't want to look. But wait! There's more stuff! Riders ahead! They may or may not be hostile. What should we do? Attack, run, or ignore? Let's attack! Attack. I don't know what's happening right now. 12,999. Yeah. Okay, let's try running instead. Nope. Yeah, that same line. Okay, maybe we can ignore them. I guess that's the end of the game, folks.
And finally, my tribute to the Atari 2600. The combat game. In particular, those tanks. I saw that on the Atari and I thought, I could do that.
So the right joystick controls the left player. You can only go up and down. Left joystick controls the right player, up and down. And we can shoot! Miss! Shoot! Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 1 point. The other player doesn't seem to get drawn. And he gets hit all the time. I guess. Okay. Now if we try to move ourselves out of there, there we go. Now he tries shooting. What if I go below? What if I go right dead on? There you go. 1 point for me. Now, are we in the mode where it will always get hit? Yes. Okay. There you go. Atari has got nothing on me. I wonder if this game ever ends. Game over. 10-3. Okay. Almost a complete game. So why is the hit detection always thinking that it's hit the player after the player has exploded, no matter where you are, but it's smart enough to know that it's hit the player only if it's really hit the player when it's not been exploded? Well, the hit detection is happening here, at least for player 1 hitting player 2. So this is the x-coordinate of where that vertical bar on the tank is, either player 1 or player 2. And this is the unfortunately named y-coordinate, in this case of player 2, going up and down the full vertical length of player 2. If anywhere along that line were green, then that means the bullet, which we drew by doing p set 0 and p set 1 to erase it, actually erased part of the tank, and that counts as a hit. So if the tank is properly drawn and then we hit it, we'll have made a hole. This will detect the hole, and then we go and explode it. After it's been exploded, I guess it's just that the odds are that where that tank lives, somewhere along that vertical line, there will be a random green pixel. If we look at these explosions and you look along that vertical line, it's not going to be red all the way up and down most of the time. There's going to be some green. So even though it wasn't our bullet that made that green hole, we're still going to take credit for it and then explode it again. So satisfying to have figured out this bug that I had wrestled with 40 years ago and then forgot, but I remembered now after I played it again.
Well, that concludes our trip down my Tandy memory lane of arcade game writing attempts. As always, thank you for watching, and thank you for your patience.